we are back again with our multi-streaming live here with Pape to Us. So, guys, my name is Juvaina, your host for today, and I have here our agents here with Pathway to Us. Sir Paolo, can you please introduce yourself first?
Hi guys, good morning. My name is Paolo, educational consultant for Pathway. So I've been with Pathway for more than 4 years, and I used to be a consultant for almost more than a decade actually. So I started
Mhm.
working consultants way back 2015. So yeah, been handling a lot of applications since then. So yeah, that's it.
All right. So, Mike, can you please introduce yourself as well? Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name's Mike. I'm a registered migration agent. I've been working on visas for the last 13 years, helping a lot of people come to Australia achieve their dreams of permanent residency and citizenship. So yeah, I work alongside our student visa team, which includes Paolo, who I think should be coming back with us any moment now,
Yep.
to assist with student visas and pathways. A lot of foreign nationals to come into the country and achieve what they set out to achieve.
Yes, so thank you so much, guys, for introducing yourself. By the way, who is Pathway to Us? Pathway to Us is specialized in helping international students and migrants coming here in Australia, guys. So during this live, we will entertain all your concerns about student visa, um, skilled visas and things like that. So please stand by there. So all your concerns, please comment down below so our education agent and our migration agent can assist you with your concerns. So do you want to introduce anything with educational agent first, Paolo? So like what is the benefit of studying here in Australia? I think there's no sound. Hmm. Mike, am I the only one that cannot hear Sir Paolo? I mean, Paolo?
No, I don't think his microphone's switched on. Or there's an issue there.
Yeah, we cannot hear you. Okay, let's go to Mike first.
Okay.
Yeah, what
So
is the
in terms
benefit
of
of
yes,
working here?
um, well, in terms of student visas, it really depends on what your end goal is. But you know, generally, it's the ability to come and study something that you're interested in or that you have a background in, and allows you to gain international experience. Um, Compared to a lot of places in the world, our minimum salary is actually really high. So we have competitive wages compared to many other countries. While you're here, you can develop your English language skills, um, in a study environment and then in the workplace. Again, you can build an Australian employment history, which can be, a work experience, which could be valuable for future visas if you decide to look for a permanent residency pathway. And you also have the opportunity as well as having a study to transition into skilled migration. So yeah, look, it depends on what you want to do. You want to come to Australia, get a world-renowned level of education qualification to expand your professional networks, opportunities for great employment opportunities in your home country, or whether you want to expand on your career experience in Australia, heading towards permanent residency.
Okay, I think Paolo's mic is now back. Yeah, Paolo?
Can you hear me now, guys?
Yeah, there's
Am I
just
clear?
this robot thing.
I know. But is it? Am I loud and clear to you guys?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there's this strange sound.
Okay. So I guess we have to deal with it. Just continue. So anyway, yeah, moving forward.
Mhm.
Um, we're talking about like the benefit of studying in Australia. Not only that you can like experience different setting, like the way of living, the environment, the people, but you can also at least, try, uh, other different foreign, people that, help you, that can help you improve yourself in terms of your um, qualification and, background. So additionally, studying Australia, that can also give you an edge with other students who are studying in different countries, especially Australia. It's been now it's getting popular in terms of student visa. So it's also an advantage when you study Australia, when you work abroad. Well, it's different thing. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, how can yeah, okay. Can you try to come back again during the live?
I know. Wait, hold on. Trying to
Yeah.
figure it.
Yes. We'll just wait for you and then we'll talk about migration thingy first, Mike. Okay.
Okay.
So, to those watching out there, we have 23 viewers. If you have any questions about migration things, you can comment down below and Mike will assist you guys. Feel free to comment down below. Actually, we have two questions here. They were asking if we do
Yeah,
you have
I'm
a
just,
working holiday?
just sorry. Just before we
Mhm.
move on to questions, I'll just talk a little bit more about Australia and the life and opportunities here, as
Yes,
well as just
yes.
the general process, as well as just the general process for migration for the student visa. So, look, aside from the fact that you can come to Australia, gain internationally renowned experience with your educational qualification, and then with work, coming to Australia to get the international qualification, you've got such a high quality of life, and it's a really safe living environment. No matter where you're from,
Mhm.
you know, there's not a great deal of discrimination or any type of racism which occurs in Australia. Everyone
Yes.
is really accommodating and willing to help you, so it's a great place to come and study. And in that way, we have such a multicultural society and very welcoming of international students. Um,
And also the weather.
yeah, that's definitely one of the other, positives of coming to Australia. Well, it depends where you study, but generally the weather's pretty good. It's pretty stable. We don't deal with too many hurricanes or typhoons, depending on where you're from in the world. Look, we get storms, it gets rainy, but generally the weather's pretty good, pretty predictable. So
Mm.
yeah, you've also got the opportunity to travel and explore Australia as well. Once you've come here on a student visa through your study breaks and once you complete your degree or your diploma program. And while you're here, you get exposure to new industries, technologies, and obviously, potentially a career pathway.
True.
So it's a great destination for undertaking international studies. So
Yeah.
in terms of the migration pathway using a student visa, basically it starts with you choosing a course which is aligned with your future career and migration goals in some ways, but it also depends on what your previous educational background and work experience has entailed. Because one of the elements of achieving a student visa is you need to meet the genuine student requirement. So it's not like you can just study, say, I don't know, mechanical engineering in your home country and then decide I want to come to Australia now and study like a diploma of nursing. There's a bit of an issue there. So look, depending on your background and the narrative you can put forward, maybe there's a way to do something like that. But generally, you want to keep it aligned, the study aligned with what with your career trajectory. So yeah. So anyway, then you apply for the student visa once you've got your confirmation of enrollment, which we take care of you for you on your behalf, depending on the school or the university you want to study at. And we sort of go from there. So look, while you're on the student visa, you can work. You can work 24 hours a week, 48 hours a fortnight. There is some talk in July, perhaps they might be increasing the 24-hour a week limitation to 30 hours a week. So that's something to keep an eye on, keep your ears open for. So like while you're working, That also gives you an opportunity to then access skilled migration and employer sponsorship opportunities once you've finished your study program. So yeah, it's always a good idea. I mean, obviously, like a lot of people want to use the 24 hours a week to fund their stay, and that can happen. Like like I said before, the minimum wage in Australia, you can basically work those 24 hours a week, and you can pay for your rent, your food. You may even be able to save some money returning home if that's what you like to do. You know.
True.
Anyway,
So yeah,
am I okay now?
Yes. Now you're clear.
Okay, well, I was listening to you guys about the working hours and So any additional to that, well, you have to consider also if you're studying a higher education program, so you need to have at least an extra funds or savings or a backup money.
Yeah,
I don't think you will be able to at least come up with enough
support.
funds to pay with all the bills and everything, especially, well, necessities, yeah, you can cover it, but school tuition fees, if you're applying for a higher education, you're studying bachelor's or master's, I don't think it's possible because um, master program and bachelor program are tuition fees are way too expensive compared to it's like double the price of the vocational program. Well, under a vocational program, yeah, I think you can manage to pay all the bills and even the fees under a vocational program. So that's the difference between the two, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
what guys, what do you think, like with the courses currently, what is the most very in demand courses that you can suggest to the students out there who wanted to come here in Australia that has pathway to PR?
You were asking about me? Is it me?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So mostly more on skill. Yeah, more on skill.
Mm.
Like under trades, courses. So if you really want to pass your course and if you really want to benefit uh, after studying, then might as well apply for a course that it's in the skill location release under Australia. But the thing is, you have to check your qualification and make sure that the course that you are applying for is based or related to your background. Otherwise, it will be ambiguous. But in terms of courses, well, we still have the top five, which is health health related courses. Yeah, all the skill, the trade courses, carpentry, automotive, and hospitality programs. So we have here child care, aged care. So there are so many programs just that we have to check if those programs are relevant to your qualification or your resume. So yeah.
Okay. So, do you want us to start with the questions now? We can start with the questions from the comment section. So, I think this is the first question, Mike.
yeah.
So, do you have a working holiday visa? Do we assist with the working holiday visa?
Do we have a working holiday visa? Yes, we do. General requirement is that you be no older than 31 when you apply. However, it also depends on what nationality you are. So not all
Mm.
countries have access to the working holiday visa programs. You can get onto the immigration website and you can look for the working holiday visa. It's either 417 or 462. Look under the eligibility tab, and there it'll say passports. Once you click the passports tab, that'll have you a list there of what passports are eligible for the working holiday visa. So ensure that you're looking at both because there's a 417 and there's also a 462. Generally, the 462 is for it's like the eastern part of the world. if that's what you want to call it, and the 417 is more for the West, so for Europe and
Europe.
Western countries. But be sure to have a look at both because there's a few exceptions to that rule. So yeah, that's the best starting point.
Hmm. Carla didn't mention her um, experience or things like that. But what would be the best pathway if my goal is for migration after?
Yeah, look, assuming she means permanent residency, come to Australia on a student visa, study a trade qualification, like Paolo was mentioning before, be it carpentry, even like if you're female. Look, I'm not discriminating, but sometimes the trades aren't for everybody. But just say you have a real nurturing sort of personality and you're interested in kids, you could do early childhood teaching. That's another diploma to look at. Diploma of welfare. I mean, these different diplomas, if they're trade or vocational diplomas, they open up the 485 program. And that allows you generally 18 months to then acquire the experience or the skills assessment to then allow you to access permanent residency, be it through an employer sponsorship or through the skill migration program. So when I said trade before, I said carpentry. There's also you can do wall and floor tiling. There's a lot of the construction trades. They're getting invitations for skilled migration, and there's a lot of employers desperate for workers. So yeah, in residential construction, so it's carpentry, wall and floor tiler, electrician, plumber. Anything
Solid
along those
classroom.
lines.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I can't think of all the different occupations off the top of my head, but
Bricklayings.
anything to do with construction, residential building,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
And I think we have recent grantee with childcare and carpenter, solid
Mm.
and bricklaying, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that's it. Yeah, early childhood teaching. You can start out doing childcare and then move into early childhood teaching. They open up a great pathway for both skill migration and employers desperate for workers. And like you said, Juvie, you've got bricklayers, you've got carpenters, anything to do with
High
residential
paying.
construction, especially in Queensland
True.
because of the Olympics coming up. I think it's
Yeah, when was it?
2032, 2030, 2032.
Where will be the the
I think
event
it's
place?
2032, but for that reason, the state of Queensland are sending out a lot of invitations for the skilled PR
Mm,
program to a lot of fresh graduates of
true.
their trade study
Nice.
programs at TAFE or
Mm-mm.
community colleges. You do a 2-year program, you do your 1 year work experience, and you've essentially got PR.
Mm, nice. And do you have an idea where will be the Olympic event will be? Is it in
Yeah,
Brisbane?
well, look, I mean, that will be the central hub of all of the participants, all of the athletes, and a lot of the events, and everything that goes on will be in Brisbane. But then for certain things, like for example, rowing, that may not be on the river there in Brisbane. It might be down the coast, or it might be inland at the lake. So it'd be dispersed across the east coast of Brisbane and even the Gold Coast, I
Mm,
reckon, for
yeah.
surfing events and things like that. So yeah,
Yeah, I think because they were like a lot of the transportation are being, what do you call it?
upgraded.
Yeah, upgraded here in
Yeah,
Gold Coast as well, and they're
exactly.
finishing it as soon as possible. Like that's why
Yeah,
for the
yeah, for that. Yeah, I noticed that all the trams or the light rail through the middle there, up Mermaid, Gold
mm,
Coast Highway near where the office is. Yeah, I noticed that.
true.
Yeah, that would definitely be in preparation as well because there'd be a lot of different events on the Gold Coast and further north. Maybe and Brisbane, maybe even the Sunshine Coast. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, by
exciting.
the way, true, true. I'm excited too. Oh, by the way, Nick Kai, where is your location in Manila? We don't have an official office in Manila, love. We don't have yet, but we assist. We have a lot of Filipino agents, educational agents out there, like Paolo, Carlo, Jay. So they are the educational agents that is Filipino under Pathway to Us, and they are located in the Philippines. So you can hold on. Is there any chance, Marian, that we can send Nick the link for the student visa thingy so he can have a consultation with their educational agents? Or you can also send me an email if you want to start, because I can see from here that you have experience of cookery for 5 years. So if you're
Yeah.
after student visa things like that, you can book a consultation with one of our agents. And if you want to book a consultation with regards to skill, with one of our immigration agents, you can book with Mike as well. If you want to have a consultation with him separately, you can
Mm,
also send me an email. I can send you the link to book a consultation
yeah.
with him.
I think, Juvie, the best way to start is definitely for them to use the link or contact you. Your email address is above
Yes.
your, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, start with you. You pass our student, potential student, on to one of the guys from the Philippines, and then
Yeah,
from
and
there,
his
if
skill.
they see there's an opportunity immediately for skill migration, yeah, that's when the guys are really good. They can sort of pass the client over to
True.
me and go from there.
Yes, I can send it to you after when they were like after if they send me an email with regards to it.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have another question from you. Okay. So, Mike, is there any chance you can assist this question? What is the best visa to migrate to Australia if I am 33 years old, female, and also connected to the educational agent? I mean, education thingy, please.
Okay. Best visa
Reactions,
migrant to
Paolo.
Australia. 33 years old, female. Well, again, as I was saying earlier, it really depends on what your work experience is and your previous educational qualification, because essentially you're going to need a student visa, and at 33 years old you may be looking at perhaps a bachelor degree or masters, depending on
Mhm.
if you've done a university education in the Philippines previously or what. So look, without knowing your circumstances or status, maybe write a few more details in the chat and go from there.
True. You can also send me an email if you want to know more about student visa love or even migration thingy. So I can send you to our migration agent so you can book a consultation with them. And I wanted to assist this one. Do you have a sponsorship visa? Guys, I just wanted to clarify as well that we are not a recruitment agency, which we are not something like that. Pathway to us process visas. So make sure that you have your sponsor in order like to sponsor you, and then with Pathway to us you process your visa with us. Okay, and if you want to book a consultation, that would be $220 an hour with our migration agents. So they can advise you all your visa options. Okay. So, hi from Frebil. Hi, for MBA, how many years of graduate visa do they have? Is it true that they have 2 years plus 1 year for staying and studying in regional area? Mike, is there any chance you can assist with this? Because Paolo is
Yeah,
still not.
Feb. Yep, Febby. Seems like you've been doing your research, because you
Mm,
are correct. Provided the MBA is a 2-year program and you complete it in at least 3 semesters, because you may get credits. So yeah, look, 2-year program on paper, then you'll get a 2-year 485 plus the 1 year if you
study.
studied at an
Mm.
institution for your MBA that was located in a regional area, and then you remain in a regional area
Oh,
for
thank you so much.
purposes. You remain in the regional area while you're on your 485 to access the 1-year extension of your 485. So look, you've got to remain in the regional area. It doesn't need to be the same regional area as where you studied, but it needs to be designated a regional area. So for example, if you studied on the Gold Coast, that's classed as a regional area. You stay there
Yeah.
for 2 years, or you stay there for 1 year, and then you decide to go to Perth for 1 year. That's fine too, as long as it's a regional area.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Mike. And then we have another question from Carla. What is the economy of Australia? Is it stable or okay now? I see a lot of Australian citizens saying it's already crowded there and doesn't feel like really welcoming. What can you say about this, Mike?
I don't know how to answer that because I mean, I guess because I don't agree with what's been written there. So, Carla, is the economy of Australia stable or okay now? It's always been okay. Our economy's always been stable. I see a lot of Australian citizens saying it's already crowded there. What country isn't? I mean, you see how big Australia is. We've only got 22 million people, I believe. So there's
Yeah.
plenty of room. Look, if what you mean is like the state of rentals and accommodation, what a lot of students do, because they prefer to do this anyway, is share a house with people of your same nationality or other students, international students. You know, share houses. Plenty of those around. Doesn't really seem welcoming. No, Australians are one of the most easygoing, welcoming, friendly
Country.
cultures, if that's what you want to call us, in the world, I believe. And I've done a lot of travel, so you've got nothing to worry about there. And besides, depending on where you're from, you're going to have a lot of your brethren or your compatriots or countrymen and women in Australia that you can go and find solace and support in if needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Juvie,
So,
sorry,
mm,
Juvie, is there another microphone on because there's a lot of background noise?
is it on my side?
Yeah, it's like the microwave. It's like banging. Can you?
Yeah, because my it doesn't have noise cancellation.
No, but where's your microphone?
I don't have mic. This is the only one I'm using. The headset.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's construction, but I don't know if it's like still working
No, it
on.
was the microwave.
Oh,
And
sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't notice because I was so focused on what you're saying. Okay, so we have another question from here. So, oh, unfortunately, Jew, mm, we don't assist with finding employer, but there are some companies out there who also recruit like Peloton, things like that. You can also search some recruitment agency that can assist you. But with Pathway to Us, we assist with the visa. So if you want an assistance with the visa processing, we can do
look,
it for you.
Your partner will definitely need to go through a recruitment agency because in order to be sponsored as an aged care worker or personal care assistant, you need to find an aged.
Okay, guys, I think I lost Mike. Sorry about that. There are some issues with the connection currently. Hmm. Mike, I think I lost you. Okay, guys, while waiting for Mike, because I think there's a problem. There's a problem with with his internet connection. Unfortunately, guys, I cannot answer any of your questions here because it's connected with migration agent and also an educational agent. So now, okay, hold on for a minute, guys. Let me just check if there's a concern. But by the way, guys, if you have a concern with regards to student visa, feel free to send me an email if you want to know the cost, the documents, the requirements that you needed to provide, the estimated cost, um, the show money concerns and things like that. Feel free to send me an email because I can assist and provide you things. So you can review first and then I can check all your concerns and then forward you to the specific person, especially with our migration agent and also with educational agents. For our migration agent, guys, and you want to book a consultation with them, I can also send you the link. And with the consultation, With consultation, guys, we charge $220 for an hour. Oh, nice. I got you again. But yeah, if you have a concern with regards to those things, guys, feel free to send me an email. Okay, so where are we now, Mike? I think
Yeah,
you're
I
talking
have no
about.
idea what happened. I think our live streaming app just decided, right, you've been talking enough, time to leave. So, yeah,
Yeah.
what I was saying before, that you need to ensure that the employer is party to an aged care labour agreement. That's what you'll need to ensure when you contact the recruitment agency, because there's no other way to sponsor for the 482 visa unless that industry labour agreement is in place for the employer. So keep that in mind.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much about that, Mike. I have a question here. What is it? Is this something? I have a bachelor's degree in international hospitality management. I am 33 years old now. I am planning to take education in the Philippines. But do you suggest that I do the student visa already to Australia for education course? I am also open to doing caregiving courses or in healthcare like assistants. So
Mm.
she's 33, so I think
Yeah,
bachelor.
it's definitely something that the student visa team will be able to
Yeah.
make a better judgment call on that one. But look, as a migration agent, in my personal opinion, it would be in your better interest to study something to do with hospitality, commercial cookery, events management, at least the bachelor, or maybe
Mm.
even the master's level. That would make a lot of sense. But there may be every chance that you can do a diploma in early childhood. I wouldn't recommend healthcare because it's a dead end pathway. There's there's
Mm.
no sponsorship availability unless you go to some far remote area of Australia, or the employer is party to that industry labour agreement. Like I said to Jude just before,
Mm.
yeah, don't go down that road. It's very difficult. You got to find the employer in these areas, regional areas or the ones that have the industry labour agreement. So yeah, diploma of early childhood teaching might be the way to go in terms of education, but I'm sort of more inclined to say that you're probably going to be needing to look at a bachelor in, your background and experience at 33 years old.
Mm. And he's not allowed, I mean, because graduate visa limit is 35 years old, correct? So just in case.
Um, yeah, so 485, skilled graduate, 485. Let me just double check that because I don't do a lot of skilled graduates. I sort of come in to do the next part once they've got their 485 visa. See, this is where Paolo could sort of, let you know.
Yeah.
Generally, I think it's not a thing, but I'm pretty sure it's you can't be any older than 35. So if you turn 35, that's still okay. You just can't you just can't be 36 when you apply, right? But the thing is this. Um, got that? No, it's fine. Just, I mean, this is for older potential students, is that if you want to go on a permanent residency pathway through your employer, you don't want to be any older than, say, 41. So, I mean, I know Carla's got plenty of time. She doesn't have to worry about that. But that's
Yeah,
just something
30.
out there for other listeners that, yeah, look, you come and study, you're a little bit older, mature age student, that's fine. But just be aware that if you do find an employer, you want to be on that employment sponsored pathway by the time you're 41, because otherwise you're limited in terms of then transferring to the permanent residency visa after 2 years with that employer. So yeah, that's just something I hope that
Mm.
you will
Yeah.
keep in mind if necessary.
Okay, so we have another question. It's not a question. It's like he's sharing that he's a carpenter for 10 years experience. Any visa suits to him.
Yeah, look, skilled visas right now, skill migration for carpenters, it's one of the most prioritized occupations. It's receiving invitations for permanent residency. However, generally, the states and the National Migration Program would prefer that you're in Australia. However, if you've got a high enough points tested score and you're outside Australia, such as where I think Upuhu might be, um, there's every chance you can still get an invitation for a permanent residency visa, even if you're outside Australia. But to access a skill migration program, you're going to need to get your skills assessment, which with 10 years experience, there's a good chance that you'll be successful. But ideally, you also want to have an educational qualification or a trade certificate in carpentry, but it's not necessarily mandatory, but it's always nice. I think a Puhu should get in contact with us. Juvie, yeah, Puhu, email Juvaina with the email above her head, unless
Mhm.
my email's here somewhere, or yeah,
You're not,
we can go
yeah,
from
you're
there.
sure, yes. And
Because
then
yeah,
I'll send
Puhu,
them the link.
there's a really good chance, mate, if provided you got the score and you know you're within the age bracket for maximum points, and your English is pretty good. Yeah, you might want to look at you know getting eligible for the skill migration program.
Okay. Thank you so much about that, Mike. And now we have here another experience. So he said that I have working experience in Saudi Aramco project Korean company work experience 8 years working experience pipeline and mechanical equipment and structural alignment and civil construction.
Sayed,
Yes.
possibly, you know, you've got an entry point there for skill migration. However, invitations are being prioritised for residential construction trades. Yeah, there's some interest in civil engineering. However, the point score requirement is quite high. Considering that you've got experience, I guess, you know, I know it's all industry relevant, but it's all sort of, you know, mechanical equipment, structural alignment, civil construction, Korean company, Saudi Aramco. Mate, you're going to have to contact us so we can go through it properly.
Yes.
I reckon you're going to need to have a consult because there's a very good chance that we can do something here. And it may also be that you come to Australia and study, use your work experience then to find an employer or get your skilled migration visa that way. So, yeah, get in contact.
Yes, and also the booking consultation link are also showing at the bottom of this video. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
of
there it
this.
is. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
so you can
I just noticed that. Yeah.
yeah, so they can go with your link as well and book a consultation with you. Okay, guys, please screenshot so you can see the link. Okay, so I wanted you to talk about this one, Mike, as well, to give an idea with our viewers. So her concern is, can you please talk about how a PR family member can support their sibling with 491 sponsorship in an occupation on the short-term list? Like I think it's 491 regional.
Well, I mean, if she's referring to the 491 family sponsored pathway, you need to have your occupation needs to be on the national MLT SSL list.
MLT. Mhm.
So if NITO refers to the short term list, occupation is not eligible. Yeah, look, talk about how a PR family member support their sibling. Yes, I believe sisters can be the family sponsor for the 491, but yeah, look, the occupation needs to be on the national medium to long term list. So, Neto, there's an issue there. The only other way you can access the 491 program is if it's state sponsored. If you want to nominate a short term list occupation.
Okay, thank you about that, Mike. If Paolo's here, he can talk about this. Okay, so we just answered this one now.
Age limit? Hmm.
Yeah, is there a chance you can talk about this age limit as well?
Yeah.
Because
Well, personally, because you want to access certain visas, there are, in my, there are age limits, right? One is for what Paolo would probably talk about, which is the potentiality for getting your student visa approved or refused can also depend on how old you are. But in terms of migration and future PR pathways, you don't want to be any older than, say, 31 if applying for a diploma, especially in a trade or vocational stream where you want to have access to the 485 skilled graduate visa. Because, like we said before, you don't want to be aged any older than 35 because you won't be eligible for it. So, you've got to give yourself a little bit of room there for visa grants, 6 months here, 6 months there. There might be issues with your study. So, study's 2 years, but you should give yourself some flexibility. So, yeah, I say 31, max 32 for a 2-year program to then be eligible for your skilled graduate 485. And for employment sponsorship, you don't want to be any older than, say, 38, 39. And that's if you're studying, and you can only be studying a bachelor or master's at that age. It's very unlikely you're going to get access to a vocational diploma program because the immigration department will say, sorry, the age is an issue, especially when you're studying a diploma because it's considered quite a low level. Um, if you're that age and the expectation is that you already have tertiary studies under your belt. So, yeah, 38, 39, because your bachelor degree, for example, is going to go for, say, 4 years. That brings you up to 42, 43. If then you've got an employer and you get sponsored, you don't want to be any older than 45 to then move on to the permanent stage of that visa. Otherwise, you'd be ineligible. So, yeah, vocational studies, what did I say, 31, 32, and then bachelor studies or higher. Yeah, you don't want to be any older than 38. If that makes sense. I can't hear you, Juvie.
Email. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone is asking with your email, but guys, feel free to send me an email. So just in case you're looking for Mike, you can also book a consultation with him through the link below. We are also showing the link so you can book a consultation with him. Okay, I have a question. Oh, this is interesting. I think we have a lot of questions about this last stream. So I want you to, clarify this one again for those new viewers out there.
Abdullah, student visa, assessment level 1 originally, now assessment level 3. So what does that mean? Which would this mean Philippines? Would it?
Maybe
Is that what happened?
Nepal and
I don't know.
Philippines.
I assume it's Philippines, but anyway, look,
Yeah, that's it.
if you've got it, if you're assessment level 3, the general consensus is yes, you will need to show access to finances in order to get a grant on your student visa. You may also need to show access to finances for purposes of getting the confirmation of enrollment from the school. So on that basis, do you need to provide financial documents? Yes, you need to show access, legitimate access to financial. So what I mean by
But
access, it's you don't need to have the money yourself in your bank account. It can be your family members who say that, hey, we confirm that this person has access as needed. It could also be that your parents are working. If they've got a combined income or singular income of around, I think it's $86,000, that can also be used to satisfy the financial evidence requirement. So yeah, the point in question is access, not so much I've got a lump of money in my bank account, because that doesn't look good. They need to be, they want to see regular deposits if you're working or whatever it may be. Or, your family want to show their salary, provided they've lodged their taxes. That's a good way to do it. So, yeah, and the amount you need to show, just for one person, is around 39,000 Australian dollars equivalent, plus your first year of tuition fees.
yeah, so around
So if you,
44,000
so if
single.
you're doing a vocational program, it's around 44,000 total. And then obviously it's a little bit extra, maybe around 50 or 60 grand if you're doing a bachelor degree, for example, or a master's. Could be more. Yeah.
All right. So let me check some comments from here. See the certificate necessary for masters. Mm, if Paolo's here, guys, he can assist you with. But what is PCC?
I think it's a police clearance. So for Rajaj, yes, mate. Look, any study that you do, or look for any visa, really. Yep, you got to get your police clearances. So you need to provide a police clearance for every country in which you have lived for 12 months or more cumulatively. So that means in total over the last 10 years. So just say you went and lived in, just say you're an Indian national, but you went and lived in Indonesia for 6 months, and you went back to India. Then 2 or 3 years later, you came back to Indonesia and stayed for another 7 months. In total, that's 12 months in the last 10 years. So yes, you will need to provide a police clearance for that country, Indonesia, and also your home country, because obviously that's where you have grown up and reside. So I hope that
Mm,
makes sense. 12 months in the last 10 years. That's the key.
mm. Okay. I'm from Canada. What's the pathway to Australia as a worker? So I think it's hard to to answer this one because
Student
there's no
visa.
follow.
Get in contact with Juvie and we can assess you for a student visa. Because,
Yeah,
like we
feel free
said,
to
as
send
much
me.
as we'd love to, we don't do the recruitment. We can't sort of align you up with a potential work sponsor. We'd love to,
Yeah,
but we just don't
sponsor.
have a facility.
True. Yeah, and I don't know what's happening in Canada right now because I just received a message. I mean, I just received a call from Canada as well this morning asking for a student visa here in Australia, and he's a chef there, and asking for a student visa. And I'm not quite sure what's happening in Canada
Mm,
right now. And
sure.
yeah, I don't know. Like, is
But
there
depending
some?
on your age, Darwin, you might
Mm,
be eligible for a working holiday visa as well.
mm. I think he's a Filipino though. Depends with the
Oh, okay.
country, right? Mm. Okay, so we have another question from here, Mike. From Manish. Hi there. My wife is a secondary school teacher, I think. She has NT Australia teacher registration. She has been applying for position, but they require her to have working rights. What is the best option for her? What is NT Northern Territory Australia? What is that?
Northern
NT
Territory.
Australia.
So I mean, I'm kind of confused. Like, if she's a secondary school teacher and she has Northern Territory teacher registration, I would assume that she'd already be working, unless your wife's gone through the process of getting ready for potential employment. And I assume that she's a
Sponsor.
secondary on your student visa. Monish,
Secondary
yeah, we
school.
need to look at it. You need to contact Juvaina,
Yeah.
email her.
Feel free to send me an email, guys.
Yeah, do that, and we can go from there because without a lot of the details, I can't really guide you too much. You can put a few more details in the chat and might help out. But I think we've got about
Mm.
66 chat messages.
Yes, yes. So we need to. So we have another one from like Ween. I am BS graduate in marine engineering, working in an international vessel for almost 9 years. Currently an engineer by rank, planning to take automotive study in Australia. Would it be possible? Heavy mechanic thingy, I think.
Well, I don't know, Win. Why don't you try and get into Australia and study something to do with engineering? You get sponsored that way. You get a skilled visa that way. But if you want to take a few steps down and do automotive, probably possible because it's mechanical engineering, but it would also depend on how old you are. So again, get in contact with our student visa team,
Feel
and
free to send me an email.
if they have any issues trying to determine your eligibility,
Oh, he's
that's when,
29. Win,
yeah, it
feel
might,
free.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it might be possible. But like I said, once we make a determination on eligibility, not only with the student visa team, but obviously they talk to us migration agents, and we sort of weigh it up. So, yeah, Win, I don't know, engineer, I'd go that pathway. But yeah, you do possibly need a student visa to start with. Um, I'd be more inclined to say mechanical engineering, like a diploma of mechanical. But hey, automotive makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Like having mechanic thingy because ship is a big machines, right? When I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, but within the fitting, mechanical engineering, within the fitting trade, there is a
Mm.
bit of engine repair as well. So yeah,
Mm.
engineering, automotive, it could be it could, you could make it as far as just your genuine student statement, the narrative
Mm.
about why you want to now sort of step down a little bit to a diploma, you could put it together and say, look, I know all the theory, I did all the sort of supervision of the engineering on these vessels, but now I'd like to go hands on and get in there and do it. You know, I've realised now that I want to be hands on. I want to get my hands in these engines and fix them myself. So there's your narrative. Possible.
True. Okay. We have high our curriculums were taken in English. Do we still need to undertake IELTS?
Yeah, look, it depends on how long your study programs were for, but yeah, generally you can get around doing IELTS if you've got the letter from your school and you meet the course length requirements. However, at some stage you're going to need to take IELTS anyway for your next year. So you may as well just go and take an IELTS test.
Okay, so we have another question from Java. Java God. What peer pathway would you recommend for regional IT graduates who just started working as a software developer?
I'm assuming this person's already in Australia, and they have the 485 visa, hopefully. What's the best thing? There's only one way, and that is to find an employer who is willing to sponsor you for a 482 visa. Skill migration, there's no invitations being sent out for the 189 national program. If there
Mhm.
is, you need a score of like 105, which isn't going to happen for Java God because he's a fresh graduate. He won't reach the points requirement. There may be some state interest depending on which state Java God is located, and if, for example, he or she studied in that state. But again, if you want to have a good look at it, contact Juvie and we can go through it. But at this stage, I reckon it's looking like employer sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
Mm.
Okay, so we have another question. Age limit for graduate. 35. Now I'm answering to like yeah,
Yeah,
because I heard
I
a
don't
while
think.
ago.
Yeah, I don't think they're referring to the 485 skill graduate program. I thought they were at the beginning, but
Yeah,
um,
what's
yeah, I
the
mentioned it before. What did I say? Like, you don't want to be really don't want to be older than I think I may have said 38 by mistake. I meant to say 28, 29, because the early childhood graduate diploma.
Mm.
I can't really comment on that because I'm not sure if JHOF means the vocational diploma or the graduate diploma, which is offered generally at Southern Cross Uni on the Sunshine Coast, I believe. So JHOF, if you are currently in Australia, I suggest you contact us, and the student visa team can have a look at that for you for free. That's the thing, guys. Listen, if you want to have a consultation about potential study pathways, like potential course options, even if you're in Australia or overseas, if I'm not mistaken, we offer that service for free with our students. So, Juvie, you're actually on mute. So, yeah, guys, look, the migration consult of 220, yeah, that's with me, but that's only if you're certain you're eligible for a migration pathway. That is, you've got an employer sponsor, or you might be eligible for skilled migration. But if you want to get access to Australia, the best way to do it is a student visa, and we can make an assessment on your behalf for free.
Yes, for
Okay,
student visa, guys, we offer free consultation. And for migration agent consultation, we offer $220 for an hour. So you can book a
that's it.
consultation.
So it's 220. It's actually a 45-minute consult. It's just a flat rate
Oh,
of
yeah.
220.
Mm.
So, but the thing is, guys, if you decide to move forward, if we deem that you're eligible for migration, however it may be, we're happy to refund that amount if you sign up with us. Also, if it turns out that you are eligible for, say, look, you meet with me, $220 fee, and I say, look, this is looking very positive for you for a student visa. We can also look at some sort of discount, or maybe even some sort of refund, some portion of the initial consult fee if you continue with us as well.
Okay, and we have another question. I'm 24, working. Okay. So this one, my daughter applied for skill assessment for her previous occupation and as architectural draft person 3 years plus. My daughter is currently onshore on graduate visa working for 9 months as quantity surveyor in Queensland. Can she apply for the 190 visa as architectural draft person on top of her QS work experience upon reaching her 1 year as a QS?
Now, see,
Quantity
this
surveyor.
beautiful question, very thoughtful question, and a very, very good question in terms of eligibility for the 190. Now, I do a lot of work in this field, so architectural draft
Mm.
person and then quantity surveying. Ah, there is some flexibility there. However, quantity surveying is closer to construction estimation. And architectural draftsperson, if that's what the occupation was, I'm assuming she's already got the skills assessment process. Depending on how you phrase or how you put together the statements of service, which is employment certificates from past employers, current employers, there is some flexibility there in terms of mm, showing that the experience is relevant. It might not be exactly the expectation of an architectural draftsperson. However, if the duties align in this quantity surveying position without more of architectural drafting, there could be a chance to claim that the entire employment experience for points to go towards your skill migration score. So, look, Zian, I think you guys should contact us
Mm.
to have a good look at it. At least, I don't know, is my email there? Because look, sometimes, guys, I'm going to allow you to actually, Zian, contact Juvaina. Remind her that I said I'd be
Yeah,
happy to contact. I'd be happy to receive
from
your email.
stream. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just tell me, Zian, that you saw us through our multi streaming and you wanted to talk with Mike so we can book a consultation with him.
yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And then our last question, Mike, because it's already 1 p.m. here. So we're finishing our live. So last question that we're gonna assist. So it's from Hiru. I have been working as a teacher, physical education in Sri Lanka for 5 years. I would like to migrate through the skill migration pathway, but it is difficult for me to achieve an IELTS score of 7 in each band. Are there any jobs related to teaching? But no, they're agree to teaching the
It's a
IELTS.
shame because, yeah, look, guys, there's an additional requirement. I mean, the immigration department put their English requirement for points and also for employment sponsorship. It's not high. You know, the IELTS score, the PTE score you got to get is not necessarily high. However, if you want to be a nurse or if you want to be a primary, secondary, or I don't know, kindergarten teacher, the actual skilled bodies have their own English requirements, and they're a little bit higher than what the immigration expectation is. So yeah, Hiru, you're right. You basically need to get 7 in each band for teaching. Any jobs related to teaching without the English requirement? Oh, there are, but you won't receive a skilled invitation if you're overseas.
Hmm.
However, if you can get your English, get your skills
Hmm.
by ITSL, AITSL, for secondary school, I assume that's what you're doing, or middle school, there's a very good chance that you'd possibly get an invitation for a skilled visa, perhaps a 491, because your points score might not be high enough for the 190 PR. But the reason I mention it is because secondary, primary, actually, no, not so much primary, but early childhood and secondary school teaching, there is a very, very focused priority on those occupations for skilled migration. So, yeah, generally, mate, go for the English. You've got to get the English. Hopefully, your age, is also, within a 25 to 33 sort of age bracket. And
Hmm.
yeah, English, and it really opens up some potential there. Otherwise, student visa, you might be able to
Study Alec.
articulate. Yeah. Articulate your previous study and work, or augment it to
Mhm.
then find another career trajectory or similar career trajectory, which is going to allow you to access skill migration with a lower point score.
And they can also study ALICOS, right, to improve the English thing.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, like, Hiru could come to Australia and do like an ELICOS program, which is, English for learners, ELICOS.
Mm.
I don't
Do
even know
they
what it
need?
means.
Mm.
But
So
yeah, English classes.
once they get the English courses, do they need to get PTE thingy again for their skill assessment?
Well,
I mean,
see, doing the English classes allows you to access the study on the student visa,
yeah.
right?
Mm.
But what the idea is, once you're studying, you're going to progressively improving your English over the course of your study program. By the end of it, usually it's going to be a 2-year study program. That's when you take the IELTS or the PTE test,
Mm.
and
So you.
you'd hope that Hiru then could get the IELTS score of 7, so then she or he could get
Mm.
the skills assessment. So yeah, look, ELICOS program, take an English preparation program of say 2 months to 6 months. Yeah, it's a great way to then access a study program without needing IELTS. But then later on, you're definitely going to need a test to
I.
either get your skills assessment or pump up your
Mm.
score for skill migration purposes.
All right, all right. You know what, Mike? A lot of people, I mean, a lot of cases with migration thingy, their concerns English, no? Like they really
Mm.
need to increase the English to get superior. So
Yeah.
yeah, what do you think
Yeah,
of
that's
us,
it, guys.
Mike?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing with skill migration. One of the two best ways to get a really high score off the bat, which is like from the get go, is
Hmm.
if you're aged between 25 and 33, you get maximum points. I think it's 30 points.
30? Mhm.
And with the English, if you can get IELTS 7, such as like what Hiru needs, or
Mm.
PTE 65 or thereabouts, approximately, it's on average 65. You
Mm.
get 10 points for skill migration. But if you get IELTS 8 or a PTE score of 79 on average, basically, you get the 20-point score. So, if you got
Mm.
full points for age in English, there's 50 points already.
Yeah, 50
Some
points
skilled
already.
invitations go out for occupations which only require 65 points. You just need to find another
True.
15 points. And that can be
True.
done by showing that you've got a bachelor degree. There's your extra 15
Mhm.
points. You've met the requirement. But then you need the visa to get into Australia.
Mm.
Unless it's a
Are,
priority occupation and you're outside of Australia, like teaching, nursing, or perhaps carpentry.
mm. Are you familiar with NAATI? NAATY? TI?
Well, yeah, because I'm actually a NATI certified translator between English and
Really?
Indonesian. So yes, I'm very familiar with NATI. Yes, there's a program called the Community Credentialed Community Language (CCL) program. It's an
Oh,
$800 test, and that will give you an additional 5 points. So basically,
sincerely.
if you're willing to pay out $800 to access the additional 5 points for whatever reason, yeah, it's a definite way to pump your point score. Yeah,
Yeah, because I saw a lot of like grantee as well that they're getting NAATI, NATI, or
yeah, NATI. Yeah, NATI is the national accreditation for what do you call it? Interpreters and Translators Australia. So it's just the governing body, the skills assessor for translators and interpreters. But they have this paraprofessional test, which is the CCL, Community Credentialed Language. So
so it's
basically, what you got to do is it's like a little interpretation exam between your mother tongue or the language you grew up with and the English. So if your English is at least IELTS 6, 6.5, it's a great way to
mm,
get the extra 5 points.
mm. All right.
Hmm.
So thank you so much, Mike, for today. Though Paolo didn't manage to join us until the end of the live, but I wanted to thank him as well. Maybe he can join next time. And thank you so much, guys, for watching our multi streaming live. And we see you on our next live, I think next week. Thank you so much, Mike. Anything you wanted to
Yep.
tell our viewers?
Yeah. So get in contact with us. honestly, the student visa is a very good way to get into the country. That's where you want to start. Get your foot in the door, and then the pathways will open up. Because I
Thank
know a lot of our
you.
listeners out there probably aren't eligible for the working holiday visa, so the alternative is the student visa.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, guys,
Bye. Bye
pleasure. Talk to you all
bye.
soon. See you, Juvie. Bye, guys.
Talk in Indonesian next time. Say hi.
See
Yeah.
you guys. Bye.
Bye.